All right, good evening, and welcome back to the Nation Network. Vince McSham with you here, and this is Open Mic Night. Thank you guys for joining us. John Wesley, I see you in the house already. G2K also joining us to kick things off here, and we got so much to talk about, guys. I don't do Open Mic Nights a whole lot, but when there's things to discuss in the business, and there is a ton of stuff to talk about here tonight, so I'll start the ball going in here, and we'll go whatever direction we all take this thing to. Cade in the house. Thank you for joining us, sir. Yeah, I'm telling you what, 2K20 has got some potential to it. Finally, we see some new creative aspects getting their hands on the product. And definitely, I feel like, and I've been saying this for a couple of weeks now, everyone's been freaking out because they've done really no announcing of anything, very little gameplay. The roster is just starting to be revealed now, and even then, you're not revealing anything that we haven't already seen in your trailers. That all said, I kind of like it. I mean, I can't recall too many events, but I know they've been out there from time to time where you had a major pay-per-view event and a main event or a sub or co-main event feature match, and all of a sudden somebody legit got injured a day before or the week of, and that match gets scrapped, and you have to, on the fly, come up with something. And a lot of times they'd go into the pay-per-view going, I don't know who he's going to wrestle. And the not knowing made it so much better to me than the month-long, dragged-out, back-and-forth build that seemed repetitive. The one that comes to mind immediately is the Honky Tonk Man going against Brutus at SummerSlam when Brutus had his parasailing accident, and we all know how that turned out. But not knowing who the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion of all time was going to get in the ring with made it more exciting. And then when you hear the music, at that time Warrior wasn't the Warrior yet. I mean, he was just starting. And, you know, I for one did not have his music committed to memory at that point. And then all of a sudden he came running out and we wigged out, flipped out. That was the night I became an Ultimate Warrior mark, no doubt. So anyway, there's something to be said about not knowing everything. It's kind of like Christmas. You're going to unwrap it and find out what's inside. And that is going to happen right here on this channel, October 22nd, starting at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, going till whenever. There'll be a lot of streaming on this channel. I will also be doing a little bit of the season setup over on my Mixer channel. You can see the link for that down in the description box below. The Mixer channel is where I do all gaming. I'm going to have some of the WWE2K20 product. It won't be the old school stuff. That'll all stay here. But maybe some of the newer stuff. I'm thinking about maybe an NXT program that I may run over there. Don't know what I'm doing with AEW right now. It would take a little while because I'm not going to go make an AEW created wrestlers. I'll have to rely on other people to do that. And once there's a decent roster put together, I might go back into that some more. Headshot. I don't think WCW killed the Ultimate Warrior. I think the Ultimate Warrior, did he already... I'm trying to think, did he already do his little stint in Italy for that one match where he won the title, never defended it? I can't remember if that was before or after his WCW. I guess that was probably after the WCW run. Either way, look, he wasn't ready for the match, and they both just stunk up the joint, man. Whoever says lightning can't strike twice in the same place wasn't lying when it came to those two. And there was definitely no Steamboat Flair match, that's to say the least. All right, let's address the elephant in the room. There's a lot of wrestling going on in the world today, boys and girls. I mean, a lot of wrestling. And tonight I finally got to see the last of it that was coming up and I wanted to check out. So let's talk about the good, the bad, the ugly. AEW versus NXT head-to-head last week, and again, tomorrow night? I watched both products as much as I could. I missed my DVR had been screwing up, so I missed the beginning of AEW, and I've since had a chance to see some of it. I like a couple of things. I like Pac winning because I think he is one of the top talents in pro wrestling, period, and I think he'll be their world champion soon. I don't like him beating the Hangman. I think that was stupid, just like I think Jericho being their champion crushes them right out the gate. It just... The guy's 50. It's like, come on, man. Look at him. He doesn't look good. His body looks like a 50-year-old man. He looks great for his age. But just for name recognition, that's That's TNA 2.0, guys. I'm sorry. They're doing the same damn thing TNA did. Living off of other, talents, names and talents of other promotions that they've built, and they've already extracted everything worthwhile out of. Jericho's got nothing to offer. You should have been building up Hangman. Make him your guy, but anyway, so there's that, which to me kind of says it all. I just can't get into Jericho as the world champion. Let's talk about the women's division over there real quickly. There's some talent to be had. Nyla Rose is not part of that. That is their very own Nia Jax. They've got their own. So if we believe everything that we are told, and I don't see a reason not to in this case, Nyla's a dude, okay? And I ain't worried about being politically correct. You can take that and shove it up your ass. If you're born with a dick, you're a guy. You can cut it off. You can add boobs. You can put makeup on. All that crap and play makeup and be part of the mass hysteria. You're a dude. Period. And while I get pro wrestling is staged and the outcomes are predetermined and that anybody's going to win, it's like, China didn't really beat Chris Jericho, but she did. I get that. So from that standpoint, I don't have a huge problem with a cross-dressing dude or whatever state he's in. I don't know. Getting in the ring and competing for the women's championship. It is what it is. It's wrestling. However, that said, there's a lot going on in the real world today, in particular high school sports, and it's pissing me off, where guys are competing with girls. Girls that would be winning state championships, but they can't because the finalist is a guy. In amateur wrestling, they've done it. Volleyball has seen it. Cross-country track and field has seen it. That is absolutely unacceptable. I don't want to hear about women's hormones being taken. I don't want to hear about any of that crap. You're a dude. Compete with dudes. Well, let's talk about Nyla Rose. At the end of the match, after losing, which thank God for small favors, they didn't put the belt on the bitch. Comes in the ring, waylays that Michael Takanashi or whatever his name is there, and he ain't a big dude. Then goes to hit him with a sit-out powerbomb, almost fucking cripples him. Damn near dropped him on his head. And I'm right off the bat saying, well, now we know why he's got to fight women. He can't handle men. He sucks. So a lot of AEW show left me with a bad taste in my mouth. So do they have a better arena than NXT? It's a big arena. It's a full house. Looks good on camera. I didn't feel like the energy was competitive with NXT. I thought NXT energy levels were higher, but it was a smaller crowd. But NXT was built on that small crowd. It's kind of like ECW back in the ECW arena. And then, yeah, they did their pay-per-views in a large arena. But so far as their day-to-day, week-to-week programming, it was all done in the smaller confines. And I think that worked for them, and I think it'll work for NXT. I got a feeling they might get away from it, though. I think that WWE may feel they look inferior by playing to a smaller house show crowd. We'll see how that turns out in the future. But I'm a big fan of them staying right where they are at Full Sail, and just keep doing what you're doing because it's the best out there, period. NXT, AEW, then there's, oh boy, then there's the main roster. Is TNA even still existing, Headshot? I'm sorry. He says it's falling apart. I thought it was dead and buried by now. Nobody watches TNA, do they? Seriously? I mean, does anyone watch that anymore? It's like, it is so dead. So you look at the main roster. What do they have? They have a pay-per-view they never promoted. So busy worrying about Monday Night Raw and Friday Night SmackDown, they barely fucking promoted Hell in a Cell. But again, that could be a good thing. It's like, we didn't know the card going in. I like that. I have no problem with that. So let's see. What do you got? You have a main event. That is the one thing we knew about. The thing that your hottest property, The Fiend. And you put him in a Hell in a Cell match. Hello, Matthew. You put him in a Hell in a Cell match and fight to a DQ. Or what was it officially? Or a DQ, a referee stoppage, whatever. In a Hell in a Cell match. Now, what I thought they were going to do is make Bray more monster than Taker's ever been, because you know Mania is probably setting up for either Taker and Bray, Fiend, or Taker and Sting, which at this point, that ship has sailed, man. I mean, throw that on the Arabs there. Let them have that mess of a match that'll be as good as Goldberg. But for WrestleMania, it's got to be the Fiend getting retribution over Taker. And the way they sold these headshots that they don't even do anymore. Matt got his ram back up. I hate when that happens. They got blue pills that'll help with that. So, yeah, to have an ending like that to a Hell in a Cell match where that's not it's not part of the rules. There is no way. I mean, shit, Mick Foley made it known that you will fight till there's a winner. And they went and screwed the pooch on that. Big time. Big time. Now, a lot of people are saying that they've ruined The Fiend. They've ruined Bray Wyatt's character. I disagree with that. I mean, he took everything, and at the end of the day, he's the guy with the mandible claw. So, they didn't destroy him, but they fucked the hell out of that match. And pay-per-view. And that brings me up, yes, Matthew, to my last point. We're talking about today's wrestling, and the NWA is officially launched on YouTube. If you haven't checked it out, their first show aired earlier tonight. Of course, it's on demand. And I got to tell you, I'll be watching NWA. Not the greatest wrestling yet, although good, solid, but it is truly, and it's a time machine where you're going back watching the stuff in the studio, almost identical studio that we're used to back in the old NWA days, with today's talent. But the thing that made it for me is on the mic, calling stuff, is Uncle Jimmy. Jim Cornette was there. And like you, Matt, I loved it. Absolutely loved it. Felt good. Okay? I'm still a fan of Nick Aldis as the champion. I'm glad they wrote Tim... my bad. Spoiler alert. But anyway, I think you could have seen it coming anyway. They wrote Tim Storm out once and for all. He will not have any more title shots. Thank you, God. That was the best match you're going to get out of Tim Storm. That said, he fucked up at least 4 times in the match. So that ship needed to go, and it did. Yeah, Matt, I completely agree. It felt good. And like somebody was being honest. Willie, how are you, my man? It was a breath of fresh air. Charles, you hit the nail on the head, and I totally agree with you. Well, you know what, Sean? I'll tell you what. I thought that, too, at a point, because in the old NWA, they did have entrance music. You know, the Rock and Roll Express came out to theirs. Ric Flair, of course, always come out to his. At the very least, Nick Aldis should have. But then I'm thinking to myself, okay, what music are they using? Because they ain't got money to pay for, real music. Now, I'm pretty sure Billy Corgan has access to some tracks. Maybe he could put a few things together for some guys or lend his music out. And I think that will change over time. I think that as we get down the line there, you will see it. Yeah, Matt, I'm right there with you. It felt good. And I did see the AEW. I already kind of covered that a little bit earlier on the stream here. But if I'm rating all this week's shows going in with Monday Night Raw, which I did watch a little bit of, again, all these new formats and trying to get fans in the door, I don't see having Velasquez, who is all pudgy in the midsection, coming out and attacking Brock Lesnar. You know what? It didn't do a damn thing for me. Getting Kofi squashed, I thought, was the right move to do because Kofi never should have been a world champion. Let's be honest, man. There's no way that guy should have been a defending world champion. He never put an ass in a seat. Never. Never will. You know, as part of the new day, they're entertaining, yes, and maybe some fans like the idea that they will see them with their bootios and stuff. But didn't nobody buy a ticket for it? I don't think Brock as champion is bad at all. I think they need him to fucking wrestle more than once every 3 months. If you're going to put him to a, contract where he's actually going to be in-ring performing every 2 weeks at least, and maybe do a fucking house show, well, there's a thought, then I'm all for it because he's the most legit guy they got. He's a beast, legit. But at the same point in time, I don't know. Are they going to do that? I mean, they're not going to put it on Cain Velasquez. No way in hell. I mean, the guy hasn't had a real wrestling match yet. And he's just not that... Oh, I mean, I don't think he's over. We'll see if he's over, I guess. I mean, he only did that one run-in, and fans knew who he was. A lot of them did anyway. But there's also a big portion of the WWE audience that doesn't watch the UFC. Shocker. I just, you know what? They're going to obviously milk the fact that, they had that match in the UFC where he dethroned Brock Lesnar and all that good stuff. And more power to you. Get what you can get out of it. NXT on USA. To me, it's the same product. I like the fact that they've added some big names to it, like the, Kevin Owens, things like that. I get what they're doing. I see where they're... But at the same time, they're still keeping it NXT. And the fact that they're staying, at least for the moment, in Full Sail with it is also something I am fond of. Look, the WWE is not going to repeat history, and they are not going to give AEW any easy foothold so that 5 years down the line, they can be a legitimate threat. But here's the thing. AEW is going to find out, and they're on the wrong track at this moment. They're going to go the same direction as WCW if they don't figure out how to make their own stars. If they're going to rely on the Chris Jerichos of the world, then they're in trouble. And WWE, in taking chances, not only are they putting NXT head-to-head with them, and a younger, in my opinion, better roster, top to bottom. There's some great talent in AEW. But again, what we saw for their first ever show, I don't get it. Look at NWA, what they did. What's the main event? Your World Heavyweight fucking Championship. It's your first show. You gotta go balls to the wall. You've got to put it out there. And what do they do? 6-man tag. What the fuck? How in the world do you not have Jericho defend that title in a return match or against against Cody or somebody else? How is he not defending the title on the first show? Well, because he's 15, he probably can't. They got to save him for the pay-per-view, which, God, I hope he loses the title there. The longer he holds it, the further they're going to sink. Did they win the ratings war? Yeah, they won the ratings war. Congratulations. It's called a curiosity factor. At the end of the day, fans are going to go where the wrestling is. And I'm sorry, AEW's product did not match NXT. The only advantage they had, in my personal opinion, was the arena. That's it. Bell to bell, match to match, NXT was far superior in ring. And that's the way I feel about it. Yeah, I'd tell you what, not only Finn Balor being back as well, I would love to see, now I know they're trying to run an invasion angle with the UK NXT, which, all right, that's cool, could be all right. I want to see a Nexus where the Finn Balors and what's his name? Generico. Can't think of his other name. And Kevin Owens all come back, back home to roost, so to speak. Maybe bring Baron Corbin back in. And have them form like a Nexus, like we're coming back taking over. We are See, even the women could get in on that. You get Bailey and Charlotte and a couple of them come back in and start kicking some NXT ass. That would have all sorts of potential, and I could have a blast booking that for days. Well, I don't know how long, Matthew, it's going to take for it to crumble on them, to be honest with you. Because I don't know what their money situation is. I mean, they have money, obviously. But is it Dixie Carter's dad money that just can hemorrhage forever? Or is there a point where it's like, hey, we're $5 million down, dude. What's going on with this? But, yeah, they've got to come up with something that we haven't seen and someone that we haven't seen. Again, if they don't develop their own talent and create their own names and get them over, then they are not going to last. That's all there is to it, because the whole Dean Ambrose, Moxley thing, it's already, the bloom has already fallen from that rose. It was nice in the beginning when he had just left WWE and he just showed up at the pay-per-view at the end. And okay, but he hasn't really done anything in ring with them in a long time, and then did nothing of substance on your first show. Again, huge mistake in my opinion. He should have had a match on their first show. That's one of your biggest names there, and you didn't put him on. But hey, who the hell am I, right? What if Eric Young won the WWE Championship? Eric Young would be a more worthy champion than Kofi Kingston. He does better interviews significantly. I think he's a better in-ring performer. He's not a different style. I mean, Kofi's a high flyer. I think Eric has got more grit to him. I would personally be much happier seeing that belt around his waist. I don't mind it being on a smaller guy. I kind of like it once in a while. I like the fact that they finally let, what the hell's his name? Jason Jordan's tag team partner from the day, finally win a match and hopefully get him over as an actual wrestler, because he fucking is an actual wrestler. Willie in the house. Willie, I've been talking about it a little bit too, and it's open mic night. That's what it's all about. We talk about anything. So what I've seen of 2K20, I'm looking forward to it very much. I like the new art direction that they're taking this thing in. They've got some guys that have come up with these wacky-looking fighting areas. The Bray Wyatt compound's got a makeover. It looks awesome. There's some Undertaker crypt-looking graveyard battleground. Looking forward to that as well. Definitely can have some fun working with those types of arenas. I don't really care about all these alternate characters that they come up with, like the zombie version of this one, zombie version of that one. That's a waste of slots that you could be putting legends in my opinion. And as I stated earlier, the fact that we don't have a complete roster yet announced, I'm okay with that too. There are questions I want answers to, which I might have to wait till the 22nd to get. Are we still stuck at 100 created slots? Or are we finally going to go up to 150 or 200? That I'd like to know. It looks like the My Career mode has been revamped a bit. Obviously, you've got now men and women. Matt's going to wait it out before he gets it. Hey, you know what? A lot of people will. And again, I highly encourage you to come join us right here on the Nation Network starting at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on October 22nd, going till whenever. I've got the first 2 to 3 days with nothing going on except WWE 2K20. It'll be between this channel right here, as we do every year with some of the live builds as I put some characters together that I'll be needing. Also be over on my Mixer channel, which I invite you to go check out. If you haven't already, the link is in the description box down below. And that's my channel where I just do all kinds of gaming, and it'll have some WWE 2K20 content, and that'll be more the current state wrestling product. So my NXT shows, if I want to do some NXT, which I probably will this year, I might do NXT over there, and Raw and SmackDown are possibilities. It's usually based on how the real product is going as to whether or not I want to deal with the current roster. A lot of times when I see potential in things, then I'll do my version of what I would do with it. And with The Fiend, you know, that opens doors that I would love to play in. Yeah, Matt, a lot of people are giving it a chance. Obviously, anyone who knows the gaming world industry, it got a lot of buzz when Ninja went and signed some exclusive contract, and, you know, all the credit in the world, man. If you can market yourself like that, done something right, young man. That's all I can say. He's not my cup of tea personally. I've watched him quite a bit, and I've heard how he talks to people, and he's a little too full of himself, in my opinion. You playing video games, you ain't solving cancer or anything like that, so don't get too full of yourself. A little humble goes a long way, I guess is what I'm saying. But he managed to get like a Pepsi deal out of the thing where he was actually on TV doing Pepsi commercial, and now he's got this exclusive contract. I think it's a 5-year deal, and I forget how many millions of dollars they're paying this dude to play video games. It's like, that's the dream job right there, folks. And your wife can't even bitch at you about it because you just bought her a new Mercedes. Looks better on Android than the Twitch app. That's interesting because I don't have Android, so I don't really have any way of checking on that. And I haven't done the app version of it so much. I've been on the PC for streaming, and that's usually where I watch it from as well. I do need to build my channel up a little bit more by getting some other people, other content creators linked in so that when I'm not on, they're on. Kind of like I did with Twitch. And I still go to Twitch. It's not like I'm done with Twitch by any stretch of the imagination. But it's worth looking into. There were things I heard about Mixer that give it an opportunity to maybe bring some new eyes to the product that I've got going here and maybe bring them over to YouTube as well. So we'll see. $32 gigs. That's a good amount. That's a good amount. What do I think about P.D. Williams' Canadian Destroyer? That's been around for quite a while, hasn't it? Why are we curious about it now? I like it. I mean, it's devastating. It's frightening. I don't think anyone hits it as well as Petey did, or does. It's a pretty vicious move, though, that whole sunset flip type thing into a pile driver, and dude goes shooting out across the ring, man. It looks legit to me, anyway. So anyway, those are the main things. I mean, again, looking at what happened at the pay-per-view and the ending, that was so bad. So bad. And the WWE gets away with this crap now because they don't have pay-per-views anymore. They just call them that, but everyone's paying $9.99 a month, gets it for free. And then is it this week on Friday? Is it this coming Friday that we're going back to Saudi Arabia again? Team Hogan versus Team Flair, because we need that. We absolutely need that. We have to have those two ancient legends. And you knew sooner or later it was going to happen. Well, finally it's happened where Hogan is really starting to show his age. You know, keep that shirt on, brother. Even he admitted, he said, we can't go anymore. And I'm like, yeah, thank you for knowing it. You should have thought that way when you were over in TNA, but yeah, no. Did they never put the belt on him in TNA, did they? I don't think so. Oh, that's right, Halloween. How did I forget? Yeah, Matt, you're 100% right. That is what they are. G2, what I like about having it over there, the Crown Jewel stuff, is the time frame. I get home around 8 in the morning, and it's on live. And I don't get to watch live too often with my schedule. Headshot, I gotta tell you, I don't recall his lariat, but I will say this. As far as a legit move goes, a lariat done right is legit. I mean, if some dude come running up to you and he clotheslined you like that, you ain't getting up in any hurry. Oh, did we settle the lawsuit issue? What happened? I didn't hear that. I mean, there was always the talk that they were going to pay him out. I just wish they wouldn't have let it get to legal status. They give you a concussion. It could also give you a fucked up neck. And I'm here to tell you, after having neck surgery, man, there's a lot of things that can go wrong with a lariat hitting you for real. You can crush somebody's larynx. There's a lot of things you could do. So, Sean, what is the settlement? What did Flair get? And keep in mind, I mean, Flair can act like a douche sometimes. But he took the high road on this from the get-go. He's like, look, I don't want this to go to lawyers. Let's just talk. Let's come to a number. And God knows WWE has the money to do it. He's one of their icons, two-time Hall of Famer. Give him the fucking money. I heard people saying, oh, it's sad that he's got to do this just because he has no money left. And isn't it? First off, we don't know that he has no money left today. He'd been there in the past, and he's kind of managed to pull himself out of that gutter a couple of times. And in this situation, he's got every right to. He had it trademarked. What do I think about Bobby Lashley in general, or did something happen that I'm not aware of? I'm not a Bobby Lashley fan. I've never been a Bobby Lashley fan. Never understood why they thought he would sell a ticket. He's boring. He has no personality. Zero mic skill. He's on a scale of 1 to 10, a 7 in-ring performer at best, and I might be kind. There's nothing about Bobby Lashley that should be promoted beyond mid-card status. Dookie! Dookie's in the house. He's the new sexual chocolate. Are they really like going that angle with sexual chocolate, or is he just kind of like gyrating his hips now? And people wonder why I don't watch today's product. That would be a reason why. Let's see, who could they possibly team him up with that would complement him? Let me think. Maybe someone with an entourage of dildos. That might work. I've always liked indie stuff. There hasn't been enough of it out there and good coverage of it. The storyline he's got going with Rusev. All I heard is I saw a little bit of Rusev. He's dropped some weight, dropped some hair. Oh, yeah, and then that's right, Bobby Lashley was making out with Lana on stage. I did see that. Managed to block that out of my mind. Knowing Rusev's jealousy button in real life, surprised he went along with that plan. Yeah, I mean, for me, this is kind of going back to Brian Pillman being with Terry Runnels. Eh, it wasn't so bad then because the characters made that work, and it was also a different time. If they think they're gonna resurrect the Attitude Era just because now they're letting a few words slip by, and now they're opening a little bit of a different door with Bray's character being so edgy, it takes more than that. I'm not a big Ricochet fan. I'm not. Again, here's the bottom line for me. If you can't talk me into buying a ticket, then I don't give a shit what you do in the ring. Because at this point, we've seen it all. There isn't a whole lot of human being's body can possibly do that we have not seen at this point in time. Between Japanese wrestling, North American wrestling, UK wrestling, any style that's out there, professional wrestling, somebody has corkscrewed, twist, turned, flip-flopped, and we've seen it. So you better have Stone Cold personality. You better have The Rock personality. You better be able to talk people into buying a ticket to see you. And there's not a lot of that on the horizon for the WWE at this moment. There just isn't. Dookie, on a scale of 1 to 10 for 2K20, I'd say I'm a solid 7, maybe even 8. Because I'm seeing things that I haven't seen before. And I already know the roster is going to be pretty much this. There's nobody that's going to shock me on the roster. I'll be curious to know who they're going to have in the DLC packs that come out later on. And I would like to know what the Legends roster will be when it's all said and done. But aside from that, and those are answers we may not get until, Thanksgiving, Christmas time. That's usually when the last pack drops, is right around Christmas or early January. Yeah, again, Ricochet, I didn't care for him in Lucha Underground too much. When I say I don't care for somebody like that, it's not like I don't like the guy or anything. I'm sure he's a great guy. It's just nothing about him made me say, I'm a fan. I want to watch his matches. It was, okay, it's like, yeah, I've kind of seen this before. I just don't know what to say. I think there's been a lot of top talent that the WWE should have taken advantage of, has now and doesn't take advantage of. They're signing all these people just to keep them away from AEW, okay? And the biggest disappointment for me is that Dolph Ziggler didn't leave. Nick Nemeth should have fucking gone. I get it. Dude's making money. He's making bank. But, dude, you're better than that. You are a world champion. You should be carrying that strap. Because that motherfucker can talk you into buying a ticket. One of the best they got on the mic. Right now, the best on the mic is Bray Wyatt, period. There's no one going to compete with him. No one. You can bring CM Punk back and he ain't going to compete. Oh, we can talk about CM Punk. Working for Fox now in the WWE. I don't work for the WWE, he says. I work for Fox. Yeah, no, the talking game is so far gone in today's product. You look back at the day. Hogan, whether you liked him or not, he talked people into buying tickets. What's it gonna do, brother? And you bought it, man. You just fucking bought it. Dusty Rhodes, give me a break, man. Dusty Rhodes, gold. Ric Flair, gold. Hell, the Horsemen in general could talk you into a ticket. Magnum TA stumbled over his own words, but he still was enough to get you going, You listened to these guys when they talked. You bought into what they were selling, and you bought a damn ticket because you wanted to see them kick that ass. Or you wanted to see them get their ass kicked, whichever way you want to look at it. All right, well, if we're going to talk pile drivers, let's talk about the greatest pile drivers in the history of wrestling. Number one, Paul Orndorff, that's it. Nobody, and I mean nobody, did a pile driver like Mr. Wonderful. How people walked away from that thing without legit injury is still a shock to me. Because he didn't just fall back, man. He launched and he drove your head into the mat. You can tuck your chin all you want, man. Gravity is what it is. And now I'll be the first to admit, while I like NXT, ever since Bayley's class graduated, I stopped watching it. I just felt like we lost too much in one shot, and I didn't want to start from scratch again. You know, Tyler Breeze left, Bayley left, and about 4 or 5 other big names all left at once. I think that's when Baron left as well. And that's kind of when I stopped watching NXT. So I'm trying to get back into it now a little bit more regularly. Dio, I don't know enough about. I'll be honest, I haven't really seen him at all. Yeah, G2, they've buried Ziggler for a long time. That's the problem, and he's such a great talent. And, hey, he'll do whatever you want him to do. You want me to get my ass kicked by this? Okay. You think that's the best use of my talent? Okay. And I'm like, fuck that, man. I mean, look, championships are not real in wrestling, but at the same time, you're supposed to, the award goes to the best performer. And granted, the Intercontinental title has always gone to the worker, and then the championship goes to the guy who puts the asses in the seats. I see Ziggler being both. I think he could have been both if you'd have promoted him right and used him properly. I think he could have been Shawn Michaels 2.0 and maybe better. But for whatever reason, they didn't want no part of that. Jerry Lynn's pile driver is fucking awesome. I will say, I'll put that at number 2. I put Jerry Lawler at 3, probably Dusty Rhodes in there at 4. Even though Dusty's a little bit sloppy, it still looked good to me. He'd grab those trunks and kind of give you that wedgie on the way down. Just Incredible was more of a tombstone. Oh, Mansoor is going to show up on Halloween night over in Saudi Arabia, which is the only place he can get over. I mean, if they thought for 1 minute he was going to get over in the U.S., they were kidding themselves. It's just, again, what about him makes you want to see it? Would you pay money knowing he's headlining a show? Of course you wouldn't. He's not that good. Yeah, Eric Young's got a great pile driver. Same thing. I don't know that I put him in the same league with a Paul Orndorff, but yeah, he's got solid. I always liked Jerry Lynn's because of that cradle effect. It's still a pile driver, but he turned it into his own, and that hook of the leg thing makes it look a little bit more devastating, if that's possible. Yep, Foley was pretty much grab you by the trunks kind of guy. And as a matter of fact, I was watching one of his earliest matches in WWF when he took on Aldo Montoya. I was showing the girlfriend the mandible claw that he would use and the little glove he had on there. And that was the match that came up when I was looking for the mandible claw finisher. So let me give you guys a little bit of news what's going on right here on the network. I've had struggles finding time to do shows the way I used to do. And then I go through these little peak periods once in a while where I've got some time off and I can do something. Right now, because I also got the relationship juggling in there, and that's kind of number 1. I'll have, and I don't even want to say this right now because everything is still being worked out and fleshed out. So, like, right now, she's at work tonight. So I got the whole night free to do whatever I want to do, and I'll be doing some more of this later. I'll be, I don't know if we're on WCW next, or actually I can pull it up here. Whatever the next show is going to be. It's already set. But if schedules stay the way they currently are, then Tuesdays, like now, I'll have all night long to, bang out some shows and stuff like that, and we'll be doing that. I can tell you on October 22nd, 23rd, and probably 24th, it'll be all day doing this stuff. Setting up the season, creating some wrestlers. It will be featured from the Monday Night Wars time frame. That's kind of where I'm heading into next season at this point. Feel like I've done all the older stuff many, many years over. I just wanted to change it to still old school wrestling, but a more recent time, and might even bring in a few extra viewers that are more familiar with that as their version of old school. A lot of stuff we were doing with, the Tito Santana, Greg Valentine, early days there, the Pedro Moraleses, Morocco's. A lot of these guys, that's not their old school. They weren't born for that. And while it's still cool and we appreciate it, for them, old school wrestling is more along the lines of the Monday Night Wars, and we'll see. Plus, I like the Monday Night Wars. I thought there was some good stuff going there for a couple of years that I have not explored yet. So, our next show here on the network, which will be a little later on this evening, is going to be Raw is War. So the other thing I'll be able to do still in the way of streaming, and you may have already noticed this, is I've had to cut down cards to 3 matches and maybe a couple of promos. Because the other thing I can squeeze out sometimes, if all the planets align, is I've got about a 40-minute window from the time she goes to work to the time I go to work. And if I was able to get up early enough and get a shower and get something to eat, and I just got 40 minutes to kill, I can get a 3-match card in, and that's kind of what I've been doing when you see me streaming from like 9:30 to 10:10. That's what I'm doing. Just trying to fill that gap before I got to get my ass in the car and go to work. So I'll always try and find a way to make some time to get some streaming activity up here for you guys. Cade Fiend would definitely sell tickets. He already is selling tickets. Let's call a spade a spade. I've said it a long time ago. I'll say it again. I don't get Seth Rollins. I don't get why anyone thinks he's a main event. I don't get, is he a main event? I mean, does he sell tickets? I don't think he does. He's a great performer, but how many guys he put out and injured? He had a little run there where he was doing it a lot. Now, it's gone a couple of years, I guess, where he hasn't ended anybody's career. Congratulations for that. I just don't see Seth as a main event guy any more than I see Kofi. I just, neither one of them, there's a no care factor for me. I just don't care. Jake the Snake Roberts had the best DDT, will always have the best DDT. A lot of other guys tried it, and a lot of other guys use it. Anderson had a good one. Michael Hayes had a not-so-good one, in my opinion. Jake Roberts, man, oh man, I don't know what the deal was, how he had these guys queued up to take it the right way, or what the deal was, but when he dropped that DDT, you felt like somebody's lights got turned the fuck off. I don't think you'll ever see me do TNA again. That was what launched this channel. I mean, for those of you who've been around for the 15-year ride, way back in the old days, and it wasn't this channel back then, it was a different YouTube channel, but that's since been shut down. Part of it in part for TNA purposes. TNA started copyright flagging my shit because I would use video of, let's say, Jeff Jarrett doing an interview, and I would drop all the audio and do the voiceovers so he would say what I needed him to say for the match I was booking him into, but it was their video. And yeah, they started flagging me. I got a 3-strike hit and shut down my channel. And I said up the second channel, and that went a couple of years before it got busted off on something else similar. And now I got this one. So, but yeah, TNA back then had a draw. There was something about it that you could make an invasion angle, and they were still good back then. Why? Because they had original talent. They had Samoa Joe. They had AJ. They had Christopher Daniels. They had a lot of their own stars. It's before they started bringing everyone else in. But do I see me wanting to recreate all those stars from that time period? And nah, I don't. TNA, I'm just, because of where they're at today, which is pretty much dead, there's no reason that I would want to. The EC3 experiment has failed and failed miserably, and I don't know why, because I thought he did really well getting over in TNA. I actually watched TNA a little bit because of him. Wasn't like all on, but I got it, and I felt that there was something happening. There was something there. I knew they would never be able to bring it out and flesh it out, but now that WWE could see, hey, maybe we've dropped the ball. This guy's actually got something. And then they brought him back. I said, finally, now let's develop him. And they didn't. They just want to take him away from anybody else. Yeah, Willie, he did hurt Sting. And I just have a hard time with that. You have to protect the other guy in the ring, especially when he's 50 years old. Come on, man. You just got to not be doing buckle power. But I'm sure they agreed to it. You should have said, listen, I'm not going to do that. We'll find something else. It's kind of like I absolutely do not have... I used to be a fan of Sasha Banks. I can't stand the bitch. And it's much easier now because I hear how horrible she is anytime she runs into a fan. So that makes it even easier. But what she did to Paige, for me, it's unforgivable. Knowing what that girl was dealing with and that she is coming off the serious neck injury she was, to hit her as hard as she did, no, sorry. I will always blame her for that. If nobody else is in the industry, that's up to them. Matt, there's no reason you can't do something similar. Go for it, man. A lot of people have. Robo, how are you, my man? ROH, I gotta be honest with you, man, I haven't heard about them in a long-ass time. I've never had an easy time watching them. Whether it's been because they didn't broadcast out in this area or I just got tired of having to download from torrent sites, things like that. But what I did see of ROH back in its day, I thought was pretty entertaining stuff. I did get to see a live show back when WrestleMania was in Orlando. That would have been the year that Flair went into the Hall of Fame by himself the first time around. They had a show the night before the Hall of Fame right here in Orlando. Went to see that, and it was a friggin' amazing show. Loved it. That was back when Nigel was their champion. Rockstar Spud, for a little guy, he's entertaining as hell. I think he's good on a mic. He's good in the ring. Obviously not big enough to ever be a main eventer. Robo going to super kick that like button. You go ahead and do that. And for the rest of you out there, if you haven't seen this product before, make sure you click the subscribe button as well. I liked Banks in the beginning, Sean. I did. All the Four Horsewomen, I was a big fan. I loved what they were doing. They were really giving women's wrestling the attention it deserved. And what Sasha did with Bayley in Brooklyn 1 still goes down as one of the all-time, if I'm making a list of best matches I've ever seen, it is so high up on that list. It's probably in the top 4. Easily. You know, for me, I mean, my all-time favorite match, good God, I'd probably have to sit down and write a list and then I'd, start rearranging things, but just top of my head, the Steiners went up against Luger and Sting at, I want to say it was Super Brawl in St. Petersburg, Florida. Fucking amazing match, and it would have been perfect if not for the ending. But it was an awesome match. It was just so good. Flair Steamboat goes without saying. And yeah, Sasha and Bayley might be like in that 3 slot. I mean, it was so amazing. It was perfect. Infrared TV, what's up, buddy? Yeah, I'll be messing with the 2K20 Universe mode here on the channel somewhere on the 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. I'm not sure how much time I'll be putting into that, but I'll definitely mess with it a little bit because I think it'll be like last year where it'll open up some cutscenes that I can then go in and use and plug in different wrestlers into them, and then I can use that for my product here on the channel. So, R-Truth, I don't see him being a champion, no. I just don't. I do see him being a top guy. I think the run he had with John Cena worked out pretty well. And little Jimmy was born. The rest is history. Look, he can get anything over. Little Jimmy, the 24/7 title, him and Carmella, he's entertaining. He's fun. The old school All Japan, I have not. I'll be honest with you. My Japan wrestling history and knowledge, not strong at all. And the New Japan stuff that they have currently on TV, I tried watching it. You have American broadcasters kind of talking over the other broadcasters. Yeah, it just didn't work for me. And the style is different, and it's not my cup of tea. I've seen Omega and Okada. I just didn't understand why people made such a big deal out of it because I didn't think it was that great. And I've seen Kenny Omega wrestle blow-up dolls and have better matches. I think Okada's overrated. Highly overrated. I think he would be an absolute popcorn fart if he came to the WWE. I think Cain Velasquez needs to get out of professional wrestling. That was not a rousing ovation he received when he came down. The ovation he received is because Rey Mysterio was there. Take Rey Mysterio out of that entrance and see what happens. Nothing. I am willing to bet dollars to donuts right now that Cain Velasquez cannot cut a promo. Could be wrong. Prove me wrong. But I don't think so. I'm a fan of Adam Cole and the whole troupe there. They're kind of the 4 horsemen of the NXT, and I like that. It gives it that vibe. Yeah, All Japan, again, I don't have a lot of knowledge on it. I've seen some of the matches with Stan Lariat Hansen and stuff like that. But to say that I've watched, the majority of my knowledge of it, and it is more New Japan, was when WCW went over there once a year for a couple of years. What I'll say about Tessa Blanchard is I think she's the real deal. I think she needs to get her ass over to WWE, NXT, or even AEW. Any of the above. Get the fuck out of the dying, sinking ship. Get out of there. That said, I haven't watched any of that product, so I don't know what's going on with her and Sami Callihan. I think Sammy's a pretty decent little talent in his own right. I enjoy watching him once in a while when I do happen to catch something with him in it. But yeah, Tessa definitely needs to move to a bigger spotlight, bigger stage. And granted, WWE had her and dropped her. I'm not going to, bad on them. Bad on them. You're trying to put these 4 horsewomen thing together. I mean, Tessa comes in, blindsides somebody, helping Charlotte win a title. Now you got her and Charlotte together. Now you pick whichever other ones you want. You know, maybe you get Becky Lynch on board. There's 3 of the 4 horsewomen now. And then you got Bayley maybe turning on Sasha, because everybody would expect Sasha to turn on Bayley. Mysterio versus Brock Lesnar. So you want to see Mysterio's career end. Is that what you're looking for? Infrared, I agree with you, man. It was obvious that they were going to bring somebody out. And they had to, because it's the first show. And again, on this first show program, that's a platform where you're going to do something big because you want people to come back and see again. And AEW, you gave us a 6-man tag match and no title. Well, here's my prediction. By February, if it goes that long, by February, they will still be in these arenas that are going to be half full. Unless they turn shit around and turn it around quick. You're not filling up arenas with Chris Jericho as your world champion. You're just not doing it. There's been a certain curiosity factor that has brought people in the door. Having that independent pay-per-view, that one-off, that did really, really well. Everybody was all in. Boom. And then they said, okay, there's a demand for this. Well, there was a one-off demand. You're talking about 365 now. How do you maintain that? Because people are not going to keep dropping $50 on a pay-per-view, I'm here to tell you. I stopped. I'm done. When inflatable dildos come down my television screen, it's time for me to say goodbye. Oh, my God. How did I forget that? Yes, thank you so much, Infrared. AEW, their shocking moment is Jack Swagger. I'm sorry. So the guy has a Bellator match. He wins. Good for him. Legit sport. You beat somebody. The undefeated MMA. Undefeated. He had one match. All right. And I'm pretty sure it wasn't the strongest talent they had to offer. They gave him a match he could win. And he did. Again, kudos. Let's see here. Where are you going to take this? To say Jack Swagger was supposed to come out and be this monster equal to that of a Brock Lesnar. Or this is, you know what this is? It's TNA bringing out Bobby Lashley. We need our MMA guy. And, okay, so they had Bobby Lashley who had a big win. And now these guys have Jack fucking Swagger, who never sold a ticket. He was a world champion for what, a hot minute? Never sold a ticket. WWE rejects, and that makes you TNA 2.0. They're going down fast. I've already got to the point where I'm not watching their product anymore. There's no reason to. Until they give me a reason to watch, I'm not watching. So everything I saw on that debut episode, I'm done with AEW right now. I'm done. I won't watch this week. I won't watch this month. I will sooner watch this NWA show I saw earlier tonight. I'll watch NXT. And I might watch SmackDown just to see what they do with that going forward, because at least there's something happening there that's different, it's fresh, and I kind of want to see CM Punk on the stick, I'm not going to lie. Joey Ryan's not in AEW, but he's backstage, or he was backstage, and he was playing some role so far as booking or promoting or whatever he's doing. I don't know what the hell he's doing, but he was back there. And he's definitely one of their boys, so don't be surprised when he shows up on it. King Mo, there you go. Yeah, like I said, a cup of coffee. Cup of coffee, yeah. Jack Swagger is the champion. No. The land of the misfit toys. But again, this is sad that this is how they're starting it off. Man, you guys had it. You had the spark. You had the attention. You had the imagination of the wrestling fans who wanted something different, and you gave them shit. You gave them old rehash. Oh my God. It frustrates me to tears how you can drop a ball like that when you have the money they have. You guys have money. Put on a different fucking show. Give credit to NWA. They did. Billy Corgan may be the only motherfucker that gets it. Honestly, Marty Scurll I know very little about. I know he wears that bird beak mask in the ring, and he has like a top hat kind of like Buff used to wear. I've seen maybe one of his matches ever, and I think that was on that. He was in All In, right? Pay-per-view. So I saw that match. Did not make me a fan. So I don't really give a shit where he goes until he can evolve into something I care about. So that's the thing. As I look down a roster from any of these promotions, I see a bunch of guys that if I'm booking, they're all mid-carders. Where's my main event? Who's my guy? And I need more than a guy because I got to have somebody from the fight. And I wouldn't mind having a pretty decent guy as my Intercontinental Champion or as my number 2. And when I go up and down these rosters, I have a hard time finding talent that, brings me to that level. Yeah, it seems like everybody's in agreement. This NWA show that aired earlier tonight, it's on YouTube. It's free of charge. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. It's legit. They've recreated the feel and essentially the arena of the old days for the television tapings. You got Jim Cornette calling the action, and oh my God, if that just didn't feel like a perfect fit. You got the old NWA tag team belts that the Midnight Express and the Rock and Rollers used to battle over. The Rock and Roll Express is part of the roster, so eventually we might even get to see them in the ring again. Obviously, I think it's safe to say that ship has sailed. But if I'm going to do an alumni match or sit through one of those things, then that'd be as good a one as any. All right, boys and girls, I can't thank y'all enough for joining in and being part of the stream, part of the conversation. Like I said, I don't do open mics all that often anymore, but when there's stuff to talk about, and my goodness, we had plenty to talk about here tonight, then I like to kind of jump back in here and give us a chance to reconnect as a community. And I will be coming back on in less than 30 minutes with Raw is War right here on the Nation Network. Hope you enjoy that, and hope you can get back here and join me for it. In the meantime, I will be saying so long from ringside for this stream, and we will be back with more in the very near future. Don't forget, October 22nd, starting at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Join me, won't you, right here on the Nation Network for the official launch of 2K20. You got questions, I'll bring you the answers. If there's something you want to see about the game, hit me up. I'll see what I can do to give you an idea what it looks like, how it plays like, what it sounds like. I heard, and I think they were only talking about the universe mode, but that the voiceover work is much improved. And if that is the case, that would be great. I don't know if they were talking about the overall game so far as the play-by-play, which I'd still have to cut out anyway because I do my own thing. But it would be nice if they somehow got it right for a change. All right, everybody, have a great night. I'll be back in just a little bit with Raw is War.